up, all my fight fans? So I want to talk to you guys about a little something. There's been this little debate going on about Charles Oliveira and him being potentially the greatest lightweight of all time. They've been even talking about him being more than Habib. So I want to ask you guys this: who is the greatest lightweight of all time? Is it Charles Oliveira or is it Habib? I mean, you know what? It's really hard to say right now. You know, everyone that we know that was considered one of the greats has really defended the belt only 3 times. I know there's only been a few people that's been able to do that. Someone like Benson Henderson, BJ Penn, Habib Nurmagomedov, and of course Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira wasn't able to defend the belt 3 times, but he's had some really great victories and wins and such in the lightweight division. So would I put him as the greatest lightweight of all time? Not just yet, but he definitely has the potential of being so. I mean, he has potential of being the most fights already. He's already up there with guys like Jim Miller and all these other great opponents up there, Donald Cerrone and such. He has the most submission wins in the UFC history, so he is definitely up there, and he's still relatively young. He is not someone that's like, you know, not on his way out. He has been looking really good, really dynamic. You know, he's been looking on top of his game. He is just a beast in the octagon. You know, we always look forward to his fights. We always get excited for his fights, and we get pumped for his fights. So I'm very much feeling that Charles Oliveira has the full potential of being the greatest of all time. So my answer is 100% no, not yet. Habib Nurmagomedov, it's a battle between Habib Nurmagomedov, Benson Henderson, and BJ Penn. Habib Nurmagomedov is like one hell of a, by far, probably one of the best opponents or best fighters in the world. He's definitely on that list of greatest of all time. Is he the greatest lightweight of all time? It's kind of up there. His list of opponents is definitely, you know, a who's who as well. He's fought guys like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Al Iaquinta, Michael Johnson, even a younger Rafael dos Anjos, Edson Barbosa. So he's fought a few good guys up there. You know, where you got BJ Penn, who's fought some great legends himself. Someone like Frankie Edgar, of course, Kenny Florian, even in his older time, Clay Guida. It's kind of hard and almost unfair because we remember BJ Penn. For those who follow UFC and the MMA back in the earlier days, he was just a killer. He was the prodigy. He was by far one of the greatest greatest fighters in either division. I mean, his skill levels just could not be matched. It could not even come close to anybody else. He was just unbelievable with his jiu-jitsu, with his boxing, with everything, with all abilities and all skills. He was literally in a, I guess you could say, in a division of his own. You know, he was just completely just this unnatural opponent that we just never seen, or unnatural fighter. Like, it's unheard of. I even heard that he became like a Brazilian black belt jiu-jitsu artist within a couple of years, when we all know that takes you anywhere between 10 years sometimes. So yeah, it's just incredible what BJ Penn was able to do. Benson Henderson, he came in the middle of the UFC, in the middle of where the division was making some noise, but wasn't a whole lot going on. We see his title defenses against a legendary in the Hall of Famer Frankie Edgar. You know, he went against, of course, one of the baddest mofos of all time, Nate Diaz, and of course a Strikeforce legend in the UFC, somewhat of a legend. You know, we already know he is definitely no punk whatsoever, Gilbert Melendez. So he's had a few good defenses himself, and he's had a few good fights in the lightweight division himself. We already know he lost to Anthony Pettis, who was also a great opponent as well. So yeah, these guys are actually all up there in the conversation. So at the moment, you would definitely want to give it to Habib Nurmagomedov, because in all their title fights, probably aside from BJ Penn, because BJ Penn on his title fights put on a slaughter, put on just a clinic on everybody. You know, he did not just beat you, he completely destroyed you. So that is honestly my personal opinion, that who is the greatest lightweight of all time. Habib Nurmagomedov, you know, he was able to beat his opponents. He didn't really necessarily destroy them. We saw that Conor McGregor fight. He pretty much was able to get Conor McGregor whenever he wanted. You know, I think that was like the longest fight he's ever had, relatively around that time frame. You know, with Conor McGregor actually even beating him in the 3rd round. And then we saw what happened with Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. They didn't necessarily give Habib too much trouble, but it wasn't like a complete whitewash. It wasn't completely just done. Like, it was over with. It was just complete annihilation. You know, they were in there a little bit until they weren't. Where you look at that fight with Diego Sanchez with BJ Penn. Oh my God, what a war that was. What a brutal beating that was. And we look at the fights with got a muffin here. We look at the fights with Kenny Florian, and then we also look at the fight where he won against Joe Daddy Stevenson. Whoa, what a bloodbath that was, right? So yeah, these guys have all really been up there in the class of their own. But I feel like BJ Penn is by far the greatest lightweight of all time, excluding the fact that he stuck around for way longer than he should have, and he lost all the records. And it's like, I guess the best way you could look at it is who had the greatest title defenses, and you probably would definitely give that to BJ Penn. That's my personal opinion, guys. But let me know in the comments, guys, on who do you think is the greatest lightweight of all time? Who is the by far the Hall of Famer, the had the best and baddest title defenses in the lightweight division of all time? And when do you think Charles Oliveira is going to be? Do you think he's going to be up there? Do you think he's going to be in the ranking right next to these guys as one of the baddest, probably the most legendary, probably the best lightweight of all time? Let me know in the comments, guys. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.